Hurst presents the 1967 NHRA National Drag Races, The Time Machines. Your great-grandmother would probably call these racing machines something out of science fiction. She would be partially correct. The modern drag racing machine definitely a product of science, but there is nothing fictional about the way these cars perform. Real men in real racing machines. The best, ready for the NHRA Nationals. The shimmering uncertainty of late summer's heat enhances the quicksilver efficiency of the modern dragster. The glossy Stocker, still a favorite with a fan, as it skitters gracefully and powerfully down the straight. Man and speed. That's why everybody who could has come. One of the finest drag racing facilities in the world is the setting for the 13th Annual Nationals, staged by the National Hot Rod Association. This is Raceway Park in Indianapolis, Indiana. 1,548 entries, estimated value of the equipment better than $10 million. Rich man, poor man, they're both here, honed, polished, and ready. You don't just arrive and run in the NHRA Nationals. No, sir. 6 days before the counting runs, technical inspection is called on a large shopping center parking lot. Racing machines from 47 states and Canada classified according to body style, weight, and engine size. Not only technical inspection, but safety too. Most emphatically, safety. With more than 1,500 contestants, have come some 8,000 mechanics and crew members, a legion of fans following, and they too have come from all over the nation. And just in case a little nursing is required, the Hurst Clinic open and accepting patients. You might call it Hurst Aid for the slightly wounded. The NHRA Tech Committee can puncture a racing man's ego right quick. More than 40 Hurst staff mechanics and technicians offering Hurst Aid for those who have come not quite sure of exactly how they would finally equip their machines for the showdown. This is no time for the wet palms. This is the time for the man to be sure what he wants to do. Once he commits himself, that's it. The shifty doctor, he's there, filling prescriptions, minor, major surgery, broken frames, springs, firewalls, bars, doesn't matter. You want help? You get it. The Hurst Clinic even offering thirst quenchers or a hot cup of coffee for the cool Labor Day mornings at Raceway Park in Indianapolis. After some 500 cases of Hurst Aid, things quieted down around the sick tent, and the boys are ready to go racing. On Labor Day weekend in Indianapolis, the weatherman would never permit rain on a parade. And even the most hard-bitten drag fan will sit still for a passing review, especially if there's a pretty girl to addle his concentration just a little. And Linda Vaughn, Atlanta, Georgia's gift to drag racing, Miss Hurst Stickshifter. Linda travels thousands of miles each year to appear at major meets around the nation. and she's become a crowd favorite everywhere she's gone. But action is the dessert at the NHRA Nationals, and Raceway Park is the place. The crowd settles, and here we go. We look now at the quarterfinals in the funny car competition. Joe Lunati will be in the far lane, a blown Chevy engine, fiberglass Camaro body. It's a 67 model. He's from Memphis. Jack Chrisman, Long Beach, California, one of the great ones in a 67 Mercury Comet. And Lunati wins it. Joe won it off the start. And the 1966 Street Eliminator champion goes into the 67 funny car semifinals. The Top Gas quarterfinals, we've got a pair of dandies here. Don Kane, Kansas City in the near lane. Chrysler-powered rail, number 2 qualifier, 7.6 seconds. In the far lane, the Beard Freight Train from Santa Monica, twin Chevy engines, Floyd Lippincott Jr. driving. This is the winner of the Spring Nationals at Bristol and top qualifier. And Don Kane wins it. Again, the race was won on the starting line. 7.63 seconds for Don Kane. A great hole shot. Let us go back for a moment and take a second look at it. Don Kane, as you can see, off the line, a tremendous start for Kane. And this time the freight train with Lippincott simply could not catch him at the top end of the strip. So Don Kane upsets Lippincott and the freight train. What has caused the nearly incredible increase in speeds in drag racing to the point where gas rails are running under 8 seconds for the quarter mile? Let's get the views of the Winter Nationals champion, Connie Coletta, the bounty hunter. Connie, what about these fantastic speeds?
We've gone to a lot more work since Pomona. Right after the meet, the other fellows that were in competition, they got stronger with the cars, so this led to another thing that we had to get stronger. And then the tires come along and they got better, and it's sort of a snowballing effect. Driving the cars gotten completely different because the tire characteristic, the way we work the tire, it's changed too. The car's accelerating much harder off the starting line than for the first 800-900 feet. Our speeds are still about the same, around 220, 222 when you make a real hard run, but the elapsed time has gone down considerably. You know, like you were saying, we've dropped almost 4/10 since then, and who knows what's going to happen before the meet's over with.
What about the distortion forced on your tires by the massive torque, Connie?
It's quite a transition, really, because now with this new tire, and just like the run I made day before yesterday, it was fantastic. I mean, the acceleration of the car was unbelievable.
Well, Connie, some of the competitors are using a narrow wheel and a very low tire pressure. Why is it that you don't use this combination?
I hope I don't get pressured into using it because I don't really know. I don't believe that the tire's been tested under these circumstances with this rim, and I'm just a little bit scared of it, really, because when you get down and you're running 220 miles an hour, the cars are what we call mushy. The car will take and start moving, and you can actually feel the sidewall of the tire flexing considerably.
How about tire distortion? Does this create any serious problems for you?
You've got a terrible distortion. This tire here will grow about 5 inches down at the other end. In fact, about halfway down the course is when it starts making its transition to what we call sling out.
And the track. It looks like it's pretty well seasoned for the finals.
The strip conditions are ideal here. The bite is fantastic. I mean, since all the cars running on the strip has a nice coat of rubber, and it's hot, and it's very adhesive. These are ideal conditions, and I think the brute horsepower has come back into play again, along with the tire. This is why the elapsed times have dropped so fantastically low.
As we go back to racing, we move into the Top Fuel quarterfinals. Jim Warren from Bakersfield, California, in the near lane, a Chrysler-powered rail. Jim, well acquainted with a 6-second barrier. Don the Snake Prudhomme from Granada Hills, California, in a Ford-powered machine owned by Lou Bainey. Both men qualified at 6.8 seconds. This ought to be a fast one. And a foul called on Prudhomme. Jim Warren wins it. A fraction more than 7 seconds, 215 miles an hour. And now let's take a second look at it in slow motion, and you'll see Prudhomme almost lose it off the start. In fact, the 67 Spring Nationals champion almost hit Jim Warren as he staggered from the start. Don recovered beautifully, but too late. This is the semifinals of the Super Eliminator. A look at the Jewel T, owned and driven by Joe Davis of Campbell, California. The competition comes from the defending champion Gene Snow of Amarillo, Texas, and his Dodge Dart, the Rambunctious. A foul by Joe Davis. Red light. And Gene Snow goes to the finals at the Nationals for a second straight year. Now semifinals in the Super Eliminator. Jim Wofield, Pontiac, Michigan, in a Ford-powered B-Fuel dragster against Dave Strickler, York, Pennsylvania, in a Corvette. Strickler in the far lane gets a handicap start. And he jumped the light. So Dave Strickler fouls at the start. Jim Wofield goes into the finals against Gene Snow. For Wofield, 183 miles an hour. A great effort, especially at the top end. Next, the Street Eliminator semifinals. In the near lane, Dick Becker, Sunland, California, Ford-powered. Far lane, Sammy Cunningham, Corvette, 67 Spring National Champion. Corvette will get the handicap. Red light against Becker, and Sammy Cunningham continues his winning ways. He's having quite a year. Sammy Cunningham goes into the Street Eliminator final. Now we have the finals in the Super Eliminator class. Gene Snow in his rambunctious Dart. Jim Wofield running in the far lane in a Ford-powered dragster. And Wofield can't catch the Texan. Snow well under 9 seconds, better than 138 miles an hour for the Super Eliminator Championship. Gene Snow in the Dart. Now the Street Eliminator final. Sammy Cunningham. Pappy Ellis in the near lane. Cunningham has the handicap. Ellis has got to come late. Look at him come at the top end. And Ellis wins it. Pappy Ellis wins it in the near lane as he caught Sammy Cunningham at the top end of the quarter-mile strip. Let's go back and take another look at it, and we'll freeze it for you as they reach the top end. You've heard them talk about top-end speed. Here you can see it. Great example of what it means to be the fastest at the top end of the strip, as Ellis catches Cunningham right at the finish line and wins it. Semifinals in the funny car class. Crowd coming alive for this one. Joe Lunati in the far lane in his blown Camaro. Terry Hedrick, Royal Oak, Michigan, in his Corvair. The winner, Joe Lunati, 8.2 seconds, nearly 175 miles an hour. So Lunati is in the funny car final. Next, the semifinals in the Super Stock. Bill Jenkins in the white Camaro from Berwyn, Pennsylvania. Bill Shrewsbury driving the Sox and Martin 67 Plymouth. Handicap to the Plymouth. Red light is called on the Plymouth. Bill Jenkins wins the semifinals in the Super Stock, makes his way into the finals. A big day for Grumpy. Now let's go back for a second look at this one, and we'll freeze it at the top end of the course to show you what might have been had Bill Shrewsbury not been too quick off the start.